Welcome to all of you. And this session is going to focus on the subject emerging from the crisis, double your profits with Industry 4.0, the low hanging fruits of Industry 4.0. Now, we all have heard a lot about Industry 4, but a lot of things which have been told or talked about is from an expert view, which means that the subject seems very difficult and um expensive and difficult to implement. People think that you need experts, in-house experts as well as external experts to be able to implement this. Today, my purpose of presenting this series of 3 webinars is number one, to demystify Industry 4.0, which I'll do today. Number two, how can you use these low-hanging fruits to double your profits in no time? This is my subject of tomorrow's webinar. And the third one will be on Tuesday, which will explain the whole framework of how these technologies can be built into your systems so that you have long-term profitability and growth. So before I talk about the low-hanging fruits, let me first talk about what is the meaning of Industry 4. See, Industry 4.0 means the fourth industrial revolution. Before this, there have been 3 industrial revolutions in the past. The first one occurred almost 250 years ago in England with the invention of steam power. So, steam was used to power not only engines, but it was also used to power factories. You had huge engines which ran the shafts, which rotated the shafts, which then were used to operate the early forms of drills and milling machines and lathes and all that. So, for the first time in the world, you had the concept of factory. The second industrial revolution happened about 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, around the turn of the last century. So, this was the revolution which was brought about by electric power, the easy availability of electric power, which led to mushrooming of factories across the countries, first in Europe, then America, and then slowly to other parts of the world, and also led to the invention of such techniques like assembly lines, which was first used extensively by Henry Ford to make automotive manufacturing more efficient and cheaper. The third industrial revolution took place about between 1967 and 1970, when you had a fusion of mechanical engineering technology and electronics. So basically, electronics entered machines in the form of chips, PLCs, simple NC systems, and finally CNC. In 99% of factories of the world, we are still in the third industrial revolution, some variant of that. So if you have a factory in Manesar, which is using 50 machining centers and 5 axis, 7 axis machining, so you would say that this is a form of Industry 3.11. By 11, I mean 11th iteration or improvement over the basic thing which emerged in 1970. But it is not Industry 4. Why? Because for Industry 4, you need one critical element which is called IoT, the Internet of Things. We are all familiar with Internet, which I call IOC, or the Internet of Communication or computers, by which we talk to each other or send emails and all that. IoT is a concept which first came around 2014, when people thought that why not use this network, global network, to send information between things. And by things, they meant devices, they meant um, gadgets, engines, machines, any kind of device could be implanted with sensors and transmitters, and that data could be transmitted to other parts of the world and to be used for understanding the performance of that device, optimizing that performance, maybe stopping it if something, stopping it remotely if something was going wrong. So this was the concept of IoT. Thanks to IoT devices becoming cheaper and more easily available, we were able to now start Industry 4.0, or the fourth industrial revolution. So fourth industrial revolution is basically a combination of machines and IoT devices and cloud-based storage to pick up data seamlessly from factories around the world, take it to the cloud, crunch that data with software, and deliver reports, alerts, and actions, remote actions. So this is an entirely new way of working. And let me tell you, there are three main purposes of the fourth industrial revolution as applied to manufacturing, discrete manufacturing, which means manufacturing of parts. And it is because of these three reasons, which fundamental reasons, which I understand, that I have decided to focus on the three low hanging fruits. And what are these reasons for bringing about this revolution? Why it has happened? See, the most important three things for any factory which is producing any parts or any gadgets or something, product. Three most important things are that the equipment should run efficiently, number one. Number two, the equipment should not break down suddenly. It should not suddenly, just stop working, because the output of one equipment is linked to several other equipment. It's generally line manufacturing. And today we live in the time of just-in-time supplies. Third reason is that today, when we measure quality, when the customer measures quality, it is now in parts per million. 2 decades ago, or even 1 decade ago, people used to talk about 0.1%, 0.5%, 1% defective. See, today the world has become so intolerant to defectives that it talks in a few parts per million. And just imagine 1% is 10,000 parts per million. So these three reasons are why the industrial revolution, the fourth industrial revolution, has happened, and which is why I want to focus on these topics. Now, what is a low hanging fruit? You all must be thinking, okay, why I am talking about fruits. A low hanging fruit, as you can imagine, you go to an orchard, or you are walking in the forest. There are some fruits which are very high up on trees. It's very difficult to reach them. You can get hurt, and maybe you reach that fruit and you find that it's not ripe. So all that effort is wasted. In comparison, a low hanging fruit is a fruit which you can just raise your arm and pluck it like an apple from a tree, and you can enjoy it. So when we think about business, the meaning of low hanging fruit is that these are technologies which are easily accessible, which means you can reach them, affordable, and implementable without experts. See, one of the most important criteria for success of any initiative in industry is that you should be able to do it yourself. You should not need very highly skilled people inside your company, or you don't need to have experts from outside who are coming and giving you advice. So this is the basic meaning of low hanging fruit. The first low hanging fruit is something which I call UMM, Universal Machine Monitoring. Now, what is the meaning of universal machine monitoring? Universal means something which is applicable to everything. So this technology is applicable to all kinds of machines: CNC, non-CNC, turning centers, drilling machine, forging machine, presses, anything, any kind of machine tool. Now, the core technology behind UMM is something which is cloud-based. It depends on a black box which is plugged into a machine, and it picks up the data from the machine sends it to the cloud. It's a secure cloud. There's absolutely no risk. And the software is sitting in the cloud and it crunches this data and delivers to the consumers of this data, which is the stakeholders in the factory, two kinds of information. One is called alerts, which come to the people on the shop floor. And second is called reports, which is something periodic, which means hourly or shift by shift or daily. Now, this is a plug and play solution which does not need any IT infrastructure. So you don't need any LAN cables, you don't need servers, you don't need UPS, you don't need all those things. And as you can see from this graphic, all kinds of machines, your old lathes, your drilling machine, your welding machine, anything, bar cutting machine, anything can be fitted to this network. And the data which is crunched about the performance of the machines, that data is available to people on the shop floor. It is available to your managers sitting in their cabins. It is also available to maybe your plant head or your MD who's even somewhere else in the world. He's out of the country, but he can access that data in real time. Now, these are some examples of reports which you can see. So you can see the downtime tracking. You can see how long the machine has been working, when it stopped, how long it stopped, why it stopped. You can have screens with alerts. So if you have a machine shop where you have 100 machines, so you can have some screens installed in the cabins of supervisors where in real time they can be seeing the data coming. They can know which machines have been down, for how long they have been down, so that they can monitor and make things efficient in real time. See, the most important reason for having UMM is to monitor the productivity of the machine. And the measure of productivity is something called OEE, overall equipment efficiency. Now, overall equipment efficiency depends on the availability of the machine, which means machine should not be down because of tool change, job change, power cut, maintenance. And it also depends on P, the performance of the operator, that okay, machine is available, but the operator is not loading fast enough, or in between he is stopping and chatting with somebody, or he has gone for lunch break for 30 minutes. Scheduled lunch break is 30 minutes, but he comes after 40 minutes. Or 15 minutes or 20 minutes before the end of the shift, he switches off the machine. So all this, as you can see from this graphic, all this is recorded in more than 24 types of reports. It's your choice what you want to see. And seeing these reports, you can know which are the machines which are creating maximum problem in terms of poor performance. You can know the major reasons that, okay, tool change wastes so much time, which otherwise it is impossible to know. Even if you invest a fortune on supervisors, cameras, whatever, you cannot get the kind of detailed, scientific, correct information which you get with the help of these reports. So the second low-hanging fruit is called PDM, or predictive maintenance. Now, this is a very, very powerful technology. This is still in its infancy, which means it is still undergoing a lot of development, as is the case with a lot of other Industry 4.0 technologies. They are all evolving. It's not like a finished package. It is something which is available now in a certain version with certain features, and then these are getting evolved. Now, all of us are familiar with two types of maintenance. The first original type of maintenance that we are all familiar with ever since some gadgets or appliances or automobiles started coming into our lives. The first type of maintenance is breakdown maintenance. मिक्सी खराब होगी, कार का रेडिएटर गर्म हो गया, breakdown होगी कार. In the time of Ambassador, I have in my own personal experience seen breakdown maintenance as a way of life. We always knew कि उस जगह पे कौन सा मैकेनिक है. अगर यहाँ से चंडीगढ़ जाना होता था तो हमें पता होता था कि मोरिंडे में भी मैकेनिक है एम्बेसडर के लिए, और यहाँ रास्ते में हर जगह है. So we all started initially with the concept of breakdown maintenance because people didn't know. जिन लोगों ने मशीनें बनाई, हर किस्म की कारें बनाई, टोस्टर बनाए, उनके पास कोई तरीका ही नहीं था कि हम इसको कैसे वार्निंग दे दें कि या कोई इंश्योर करें कि ये ब्रेकडाउन ना हो. सो जब चीज खराब होती थी उसको ठीक करते थे. Unfortunately, it does not work today in the factory environment, in the industrial system. Why? Because each machine is part of a chain. It's a line. So if you have a machine break down suddenly, your machining center, which is part of a line supplying parts to Mahindra, it breaks down. Now, what is going to happen is, first of all, its own loss, time loss, because nobody has all the parts in their store. So once if something, let's say, axis bearing goes, so you will try to find out from the market, get quotations from various suppliers, then you will procure that, then you will get your own people, or you may not have your own people, then you will call the manufacturers service people, they will come, they will replace. Now the cost of those parts, that is one loss. Second loss is the time loss of that machine. Third loss is the time loss of all the other machines, the gear cutting machine, the hobbing machine, the broaching machine, the grinding machine, which were to process that job before sending to the customer. Now, the third loss is the irritation of the customer because he's used to just in time supplies. And if your line is down, so he's going to be very upset. So you will have to make alternate arrangements. So breakdown maintenance is a sin, pap. It is a sin. Today, you cannot afford it. If you have breakdowns, you must find a way to eliminate those, or you cannot work. Now, about 40 years ago, the concept of preventive maintenance became popular. And this is a very good concept. People studied various types of machines, the typical life of various components, the period after which some problem could occur. And then they made charts and tables in consultation with the customers who had the real experience of using those machines. And then they decided, okay, timetable, calendar based. Once a month, you check the lubrication system. Once in 2 months, you check something else. Once in 6 months, you check the greasing of the spindle bearings or something like that. Now, this is a very good system and it has been pretty effective in solving a lot of problems, but it has limitations. In today's world, with very thin margins and very competitive environment, you cannot rely only on preventive maintenance to ensure that your machines do not break down. So we have now this new technology, an industry 4.0 technology called predictive maintenance, or PDM. PDM is based on a principle, a very old saying we have heard in school. It's a many 100-year old saying, a stitch in time saves nine. So basically, आप अगर गलती को पकड़ लेते हो बहुत पहले, जब वो barely start हुई होती है, you can save a lot of cost. See, even in medical field, this is what is being attempted in the case of COVID also, that you try to catch the first few infected people, isolate them and treat them and not let them mingle with the population so that it does not spread. So in this case, in case of PDM, we use symptoms of potential problems to come to conclusions that yes, the spindle of this machine can fail in a couple of months because the vibration level is rising beyond the normal. So examine this today, set it right so that it does not fail. So these symptoms of different types, temperature, pressure, vibration, these are extracted from the machine. These are analyzed by a system. Now that's the second principle. They are not sent to Mr. Sharma, Mr. Verma, or Mr. Kapoor, because when humans come into the picture, they have other responsibility, other constraints. They may be overworked, they may have other assignments. So even if they get report of a system that vibration is high, they may just say, okay, dekhte hain baad mein. So the system takes it to the cloud where you have the the analytical engine, which reads all these symptoms, and then it gives directions that to particular designated people For example, Sunil Kumar is the maintenance in charge of certain lines in a factory. So Sunil Kumar will get a message from the system that there's a vibration issue in machine number 31, spindle vibration issue. Please attend to it and report the reasons and actions taken. So this is an autonomous system, and it checks multiple symptoms, as I mentioned earlier: temperature, pressure, force, pH, vibrations, and a combination of these to arrive at the disease. कि ये disease क्या हो सकती है? And these symptoms are detected with IoT enabled sensors. Now, there are two types of sensors from which data is taken. The first type of sensors are internal sensors. All machines, at least the newer generation machines, have many sensors implanted in them. For example, temperature sensor. I'll give a small example. If you are using a CNC machine, let's say specifically a VMC. Now, VMC has 3-axis motors. Normally speaking, all these 3-axis motors should be having the current at any moment of time in the operation. The current drawn by the motor should not heat it more than 10 degrees over the ambient temperature. Battery low. So it should not heat it more than 10 degrees above the ambient temperature. Now, suppose you have a motor. Let's start this way. You have the ambient temperature of your shop floor 40 degrees, which means your motor should not be operating at more than 50 degrees. Now, the motor is actually operating at 60 degrees. If you do not have PDM system, you will never know. You will not be able to know, because you can know only if somebody goes to the machine, he opens this window, appropriate window, parameter window, he goes to and checks the temperature, then he will know. But who has the time to keep going every day, every hour and checking like this? So this motor, if it is operating at 60 degrees, it is actually a symptom of a problem. मोटर की प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. सिम्टम क्या है कि symptom is temperature. What is the problem? The problem is that lubrication oil grade was not correct. Because of that, the slide is moving, it is experiencing resistance. The lubrication is not good enough. So the motor needs to use more force to move the slide. So it is getting heated more. Thanks to PDM, we are extracting and studying all this data 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not we, the system. Quietly behind the scenes, it is checking. It has got its thresholds or limits, which have been set by our team. The moment the motor is running at 60 degrees, the system will generate a message for the maintenance person. Please go and check machine number 27, X-axis motor taking excess load. Check reasons for excess load. Once the person goes, he can check कि वो ये तो इसका misalignment हुई है, कोई accident हुआ था, बताया नहीं गया, or oil is not there, or something else. So this is a very effective way of using data from internal sensors to take necessary action and predict what can go wrong. The second type of sensors are called external sensors. These are sensors which are additionally put on the machine so that more data about different kinds of conditions can be extracted. These include vibration sensors, temperature sensors, pressure, pH. So the combination of internal and external sensors are used to extract and analyze data in real time without any human intervention. Now, after this data is analyzed, there are 3 types of actions which this system can take. The first is called alerts. So system can send an alert to a designated person, and you have fed the names of the designated people in the system. So the system knows, okay, Ravi Kumar has to be informed in case of so-and-so thing. So Ravi Kumar gets an alert that temperature of the x-axis servo motor is more than what it should be. Go and see and find out the reason, and then write it in the system that this action was taken. Unless he writes in the system will not close the inquiry, this report. So this is the first type of action. The second type of action is a very, very important action. It's called insight. Now, this is a very deep thing. Insight is something which the system provides to you, which you on your own, when I say you, humans, on their own, cannot know. I'll give you an example. Ram Prasad, the operator, makes a mistake in the night shift and there is a crash of the system. Normally, there is no way you would know unless that crash is so severe that the machine cannot operate, or the signs are very clear. Some darwaze toote hue hain, everything is misaligned. It does not normally happen. Before I proceed further, I will share with you one statistic, because I'm a machine builder since 35 years now. And I belong to a family which has been building machines since 1961. So we know what machines are and what happens. See, most machines in Indian machine shops, most machines of any make, from Mori Seiki to Marshall, they will have a first life. And first life means after which you need major overhauling. They will have a first life of only 50% of the designed life, less than 50%. Reason for that is these small and medium accidents which take place all the time. Night shift mein, din mein, people remove the evidence of these and keep running the machine. And because of those internal injuries, after some weeks or days or months, suddenly you find out that ye to iske bearing gaye, iska ye ho gaya, iska wo. Now, thanks to PDM and the sensors which have been implanted in the machines, if there is an accident, instantly it is recorded in the system and will be sent to the designated people. So even if it is at 4:30 in the morning and there's no manager, when the manager sees his phone in the morning, he will know, okay, 4:30 baje machine number 26 pe ye accident hua tha, is intensity ka. It will also describe that. So he will just go and he will ask his team to come and check the machine and correct it. So this insight will save the life of the machine by timely maintenance, number one. Number two, when you have a system like this, that insights about accidents or any such occurrences are recorded and nobody can escape, this brings about a change in attitude of the people working on the machines. First of all, it helps you to detect who are the incompetent people, the jhoot bol ke lage hain kaam pe. Secondly, it also helps you to counsel or train the people that, look, if you do this thing, it will be recorded by the system. So spend more time thinking before you give a program correction or you set a new job or things like that. So this is the second advantage, this is the second action taken by the system under predictive maintenance. The third type of action is called autonomous action. Now, there are some things which happen so fast that no human being has time to react. This is where the system comes in and stops things and prevents an accident, a serious accident from taking place. I'll give an example. Imagine a job has been loaded and it has been, the moment the cycle start is switched on, there is a sudden loss in pressure, clamping pressure, because of some reason. Now, there is no way an alert can go and a person can stop the machine. There's no way. It is going to happen in 0.5 seconds. Now here, the system detects that spindle has started. It also detects that at this time, the pressure should have been so much, but it has dropped to this. Immediately, it comes to a conclusion that the machine needs to be stopped, and it stops the machine in a fraction of a second. So this is the third type of action, which is called autonomous action. Now, before I move to the next third module of this, I will be happy to answer any questions related to predictive maintenance. So now I've come to the final third part of this webinar, which is the third low-hanging fruit. Friends, the earlier two fruits that I talked about, are very, very important. But if they are very, very important, this is critical. Reason, पहला जो fruit है, which is UMM, it is primarily taking care of your productivity, how well you run your machine or your operator runs the machine. The second PDM is related to the health of the machine, that it should not suddenly stop. You can live with both these problems, but in today's world, you cannot live with the third problem, which is quality. Today, if we talk about automotive industry, because I generally use the example from the automotive field because they are the largest users of machines and they make the equipment which is so affordable. A typical car is so affordable today compared to what it was 50 years ago if we see the per capita income. But it is so loaded with technology that these people have to be very, very efficient and they have to have excellent quality, because you cannot afford even one car in 10 million having a failed shock absorber or braking system or something on the road. It would lead to so many deaths. So the most important thing today is quality, and most of the tier 1 companies like Bosch, for example, or GKN or other such companies specify near 0 parts per million in the incoming material. That if you are supplying to Bosch, they will say कि हमें तो 0 ppm material चाहिए. अब आप सोचो कि आज से 15 साल पहले 0.1% को बहुत अच्छा समझा जाता था, but 0.1% is 1000 ppm. Today people are talking of near 0 ppm. This cannot be done by Ram Prasad operator alone, और राम प्रसाद की गलती को पकड़ने के लिए आप इंस्पेक्टर अजैब सिंह को लगा दो. This will not solve the problem. You need a system-based approach, and the system that we have under Industry 4.0 is called CLAP, Closed Loop Auto-Corrected Production. Now, we talked about Ram Prasad. That's a general name I have given for an operator, just to make things more, easy to understand. See, this industrial model, which is still existing in 99% of factories, is something which we inherited from 100 years ago, 1920s ka, the 1910s ka. This model was based on the concept of skilled operator, Ram Prasad, and inspectors, quality inspector, Ajay Singh. Idea was that skilled operator को training देके हम basic skills उसे सिखा देंगे, which were inspection skill, judgment skill and input skill. 100 साल पहले measuring instrument में भी थोड़ा सा different होता था, अब digital है mostly. Judgment वही करनी पड़ती थी, तब भी drawing होती थी, drawing से compare करना है from the measured size. Input उस वक्त dial होते थे, mechanical dial and things like that, gauges. Today it is computer type keyboards. But essentially the same skills or skill requirement has been there. However, two things have happened, especially in the last 15 years. The first thing is that the attitude and aptitude of Ram Prasad has been declining, has been falling. Why it has been falling is that now he has many other attractions, many other types of jobs in the service sector, which are much more attractive than being a machine tool operator or a machine shop operator. So this is one of the big problems. And I've already mentioned that companies, the Bosches of the world, today their expectation is much higher than what it was 15 years ago. So today, all these skills which are necessary to be a skilled operator result in errors, which you can see on the screen: measurement error, judgment error, input error. Input error is very common, especially in night shift. People are tired. Correction देनी है आपने 0.004 microns, and you miss out one decimal point position, and you give 0.04, and you have lots of defectives produced. So Marshall has come up with a patented technology called CLAP, which means basically that the job is done, it is auto measured, auto analyzed, and auto corrected by something called smart correct gauging stations. So these stations have three modules. One is called inspection module, which is custom designed as per a particular family of jobs. Then you have an analysis module where the computation is done and which then tells the CNC how much to get corrected. And there is a activation module which activates the whole system. So I will now show you a small video clip which will show you some of these gauging stations in action. Yep, बीच में ना कुछ change ना करो. So friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. So we come to the last part of our presentation now. So with the help of these three technologies, these three basic building blocks of Industry 4.0, which are the most accessible, affordable, and implementable, so hence which are called the low-hanging fruits, you get three major benefits. You have lower cost per component, quick return on investment of all the machines or infrastructure that you put up. And you are also able to achieve near zero defect quality, which when you combine all these three together are a very, very powerful way in making you more competitive and profitable. The coronavirus is going to hit the world very, very hard. I didn't want to talk about corona, but it is inescapable. You are going to have to operate your factories with much less number of people, at least much less skilled people. You will be forced to have intense competition because the overall demand may come down for some time. But the most hopeful thing, positive thing, which I'd like to express is that the world is going to bounce back. The world is going to bounce back. And in this new changed world, you will be benefited greatly if you use this time to dump the old rotten past. अगर कोई खराब practices हैं, over dependence on people, outdated technologies, throw them out. You may not be able to throw them out in one shot, but start the process, start pilot projects. Everybody can afford a pilot project. It can be of any scale. You can start with one line, one machine, start with these pilot projects. Do baselining, see before and after. You will see a huge change. And then you will realize how we were working. I have a simple formula. If today you are earning net profit of X%, let's say 6%, then simple thumb rule is that 12% is going down the drain. Double of what you are earning is going down the drain. That is easily stoppable loss, which can be converted from loss into profit. So in the next two webinars, we are going to explain how you can now implement these things and enjoy the fruits of Industry 4.0. And, all this is something which Marshall has been working on for years now. This is the right time. We can share these technologies with you, help you to grow stronger, more competitive, more profitable, and able to face more shocks to make you rather shock proof. Thank you. Jai Hind.